Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with another combo guide, this time for Ryzeal MITSURUGI. I'm updating a very much needed update for this deck, because now Ryzeal MITSURUGI plays a lot more like a pure MITSURUGI deck, as opposed to the main Ryzeal strategy ever since the ban of Ryzeal Cross. So, we're going to go over how to combo with this new variation of this deck. Before I show you the lines, gotta give a quick shout out up top to our YouTube members. If you want to see content early, sometimes up to a week early, as well as getting your name at the end credits of every video and seeing some exclusive members-only uploads, then you're going to want to go ahead and check out the join button next to subscribe down below. There you can join as a YouTube member and you'll get all of the benefits I just mentioned. Huge thank you to all who choose to join. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with our first one-card combo, which is going to be with Aramasa. As always, I'm going to ignore some of the other cards in my hand and just pretend like we only opened Aramasa and a bunch of off-engine. So we're going to start with normal summon MITSURUGI Aramasa and activate the effect to, of course, add the Habakiri to our hand. Now we can activate the effect of Habakiri. We're going to special summon Saji from our deck and then tribute it. Now we're going to activate Saji's effect, and we're going to add the MITSURUGI Ritual from deck to hand. From here, we're going to activate the effect of MITSURUGI Ritual to summon from the hand first. We're going to summon that Habakiri we added by sending Kusanagi, as well as another level 4 reptile from our deck. I'm just going to use a second Aramasa. It could be Lamia. You could do Night Sword Serpent if you really want to, but I don't think the brickiness of it is worth getting an extra body here. And I'm about to show you, we're not going to need that extra body to make rank 4 plays, because we opened Aramasa specifically. Okay, so now we can activate the effect of Kusanagi that just got sent. We're going to add back the MITSURUGI Ritual. Let's activate MITSURUGI Ritual here. And now we're going to summon from deck. We're going to summon the Murakumo, sending away the Habakiri. This will, of course, end up triggering the Habakiri's effect. And now we can add another card from our deck to our hand. Let's grab MITSURUGI Prayers. And then we will revive the Habakiri as well. Alright, now we're going to activate MITSURUGI Prayers. We're going to tribute a monster, yes. We're going to tribute the Murakumo, because it has not yet activated the if this card is tributed effect. And we're going to click 3, so that way we get both effects. As far as what we're adding, we can just go ahead and grab the Futsu no Mitama, that's fine. We're not going to be summoning it in this combo line, but we're also going to make sure that we want to special summon one of our level 4 MITSURUGI monsters. It can be any of them, just as long as it's one of the level 4 monsters. Now, of course, the Murakumo will activate, and here you can either choose to add a Great Purification to have a negate for your opponent's turn, or if you would rather have a Prayers on your opponent's turn to be able to tribute and revive whenever you want. They're both feasible options. There's also the Magatama, but I think that either Great Purification or Prayers is a stronger search than Magatama here. I'm going to get Great Purification. And now we can revive the Murakumo. Alright, from here we're going to actually start to pivot into our Ryzeal plays. We're going to make Duo Drive using the Aramasa and then the Saji that we revived. Now we can activate Ryzeal Duo Drive's effect. We're going to detach these materials. And we're going to want to add Sword Ryzeal for sure. And then we're also going to add Node Ryzeal. I'm adding these two, or rather I should say, I'm not adding Ice Ryzeal because we've already normal summoned, and I'm not adding X Ryzeal because Sword can add that anyway. So let's go ahead and grab Node. Okay, now this is a very important step. You don't want to summon either of your Ryzeal monsters yet, because then you'll get locked into rank 4s. So first what we're going to do is I'm actually going to make IP Masquerena using Ryzeal Duo Drive plus Habakiri. We'll throw Masquerena right up there. Alright, now we can special summon Sword Ryzeal, and we're going to activate in order to search. Again, this will lock you into rank 4s. We're going to grab X Ryzeal. X Ryzeal is going to special summon by sending Aggregator here. However, because we control monsters that aren't rank 4s, or, you know, Ryzeal monsters, or level 4s rather, we're not going to get the search, but that's fine, because we already added Node off of the Duo drive anyway. Alright, next we're going to actually make Dugaris, number 60 Dugaris the Timeless. And then we can activate detaching both materials in order to draw 2 and then discard 1. Just go ahead and get rid of like one of the Fuoloses here. Next we can special summon Node Ryzeal, and then activate its effect, sending away that Dugaris we summoned in order to revive one of our Ryzeal monsters from the graveyard. Now we can take these 2 Ryzeal monsters and overlay them into good old Ryzeal Detonator. Detonator effect on summon gets to activate. We'll go ahead and pick up the Aggregator in the graveyard as a material, that way we get an extra negate when we detach it. After that, you can set your Great Purification, and this is your end board. Might not look like a lot, it's only 4 cards, but there's a lot of interaction packed into these 4 cards, right? We've of course got the Murakumo negate/discard effect, Great Purification's negate, IP Masquerena allows us to pivot into either Dynamundo to shuffle a card back, or SP Little Knight to banish cards. And then of course we have the Detonator to destroy 3 cards, and by detaching the Aggregator, we get yet another negate. And lest we forget that we can either use the Murakumo's effect, or potentially the effect of Dynamundo to revive Murakumo, and then we'll get to destroy all monsters our opponent controls. That's also on top of drawing 2 cards with Dugaris, so pretty solid combo line, but it can also be made even better if you open other cards. Okay, so if we open Pre-Preperation of Rites, we can actually achieve a pretty similar inboard to our Aramasa combo line, but it'll actually be even better, and I'll show you how. We're going to start by activating Pre-Preparation of Rites. We're going to get to add the MITSURUGI Mirror, of course, as well as a copy of Habakiri from deck to hand. Ignore the Habakiri and other stuff as usual. Okay, now we can activate Habakiri, and we are going to special summon Saji from deck, and then tribute it. Now Saji effect gets to activate, and we are going to add the MITSURUGI Ritual. Alright, next up, let's activate the Ritual, and we are going to summon from hand the Habakiri using Kusanagi and Aramasa. Alright, we'll just throw that right over here. And we're going to activate both effects. As far as which order to do it, I still like activating Kusanagi as Chainlink 1. Even though Ghost Spell isn't as common, adding back the Ritual is more important than searching a monster, although they are both pretty important effects. Plus, if your opponent had Ash Blossom, they probably would have used it already by this point. So, we're going to use Kusanagi to add back the Ritual, and then Chainlink 2, Aramasa, to search a MITSURUGI monster from deck to hand. That's actually going to end up being the Futsu no Mitama. We're going to add that. And then we're going to go Kusanagi to add back the Ritual. Okay, now we're going to activate Ritual again. This time we're going to summon from deck. We're going to summon Murakumo by sending the Habakiri that's on our field. Put that over here. And this will, of course, trigger the Habakiri Tribute effect to search and then summon itself back. Alright, let's go ahead and grab prayers here. Special summon, yes. Okay, we're going to, at this point, we're going to actually activate MITSURUGI Mirror. Remember, we added this with pre-preparations, so we're going to special summon the Futsu no Mitama by tributing the Murakumo on our field, because it hasn't activated its tribute and then summon effects. But we're going to do that here in just a moment. Alright, so there's that. We're going to get a search here. And this time, we can just go ahead and grab the Great Purification. And then we'll get to revive. Okay, now we're going to activate MITSURUGI Prayers. We're going to tribute a monster, yes. We're going to tribute the Futsu no Mitama, because it has not yet activated its tribute effect. And we're going to do number 3, both effects. Let's go ahead and add Aramasa, specifically. Take 800, we're going to revive one of our level 4s. I'll do Saji in this case. Now we can activate Futsu no Mitama as Chainlink 1, and then MITSURUGI Mirror as Chainlink 2. Mirror gets to shuffle itself back as another search target, also making our pre-preps in deck live again. And then we are going to add... You could do either a second copy of Prayers or a Magatama. I like getting another copy of Prayers for the opponent's turn here, especially with the way that I'm going to do the combo line. And then we'll revive the Futsu no Mitama. Okay, at this point we actually have not used our normal summon yet, so we can normal summon that Aramasa that we searched, and we can make the Duo drive using our 2 level 4 monsters. We can activate the Duo drive effect. We're going to detach both materials, and we're going to search the same things that we did in the last combo line. That being the Sword Ryzeal, as well as the Node Ryzeal. Okay, so again, we need to do a couple of things before we lock ourselves into only being able to make rank 4s. We're going to summon a couple of monsters here. We're going to summon the rank 8, number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. I'm going to use Habakiri and Futsu no Mitama specifically to make this. That does actually kind of matter here, because now I can make IP Masquerena using Duo Drive plus Murakumo. And since I searched a follow-up copy of Prayers, basically what that means is now Prayers can directly revive the Murakumo to get the board wipe whenever I want on my opponent's turn, as opposed to, you know, reviving Futsu no Mitama and then having to wait for the opponent to special summon to then get the Murakumo revive. Okay, so now we are done making things that aren't level or rank 4. Let's special summon Sword Ryzeal from our hand. We'll activate the effect in order to add X Ryzeal. X Ryzeal gets to special summon by sending the Aggregator to the graveyard. And we don't need to activate it. Alright, we're going to make the Dugaris first. Yet again, just like the last combo line, we'll get a couple of draws. Activate Dugaris' effect. We can detach both materials in order to draw 2 and then discard 1. I guess we'll just get rid of the bonfire because it doesn't have any targets left. Alright, now we can special summon Node Ryzeal. Let's activate Node Ryzeal. We're going to send away the Dugaris on our field and revive one of our level 4 Ryzeal monsters. And now we can make the Detonator using X plus Node. Detonator on summon effects will pick up the Aggregator from the graveyard as a material. And then now you can set both Prayers and Great Purification. So, pretty similar end board to last time, but with a couple of notable upgrades. For one, we've added a monster negate to our end board in the form of number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, but we also have another MITSURUGI card. Instead of just having Great Purification or Prayers, you get access to both here. Now, again, you do have your Murakumo in the graveyard at the start, but that's not a problem at all for multiple reasons. Not only could you use Prayers to revive, but you could also go for the Dynamundo and use that during the opponent's turn effect instead. So that's why I said you could get Magatama, but I like having multiple options to revive the Murakumo just in case. You never know what kind of they have like Bestials or DD Crow or something, right? You might need to like use Prayers as a quick effect. And of course we still have the Great Purification once we do start reviving our MITSURUGI monsters. You could alternatively use number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord effect early, detaching Futsu no Mitama, then revive that with Prayers, and then you could use the Mitama to revive Murakumo when your opponent special summons a monster. But if you use the materials in the order that I did here, more importantly, it just gives you the option to do that, right? Like again, if I had made Photon Lord with Murakumo plus Habakiri and linked away the Futsu no Mitama, I wouldn't necessarily be able to board wipe whenever I want with Prayers. So always worth considering when you're deciding what materials to use for your combo line. Alright, let's say that you open Habakiri plus 4 other hand traps. Then you would want to combo like this. Activate Habakiri in order to special summon Saji from deck, and then tribute. Saji effect activate. We're going to add the MITSURUGI Ritual from deck to hand. Activate MITSURUGI Ritual. To summon from hand, we're going to summon the Habakiri by sending Kusanagi and Aramasa. We'll special summon right over here, and then of course we'll get both of those effects that we just sent. I still like doing Chainlink 1 Kusanagi in order to add back Ritual to chain block against Ghost Spell, then Chainlink 2 Aramasa, because again, if they had Ash Blossom, they probably would have used it already. Aramasa will add the Futsu no Mitama from deck to hand, and then Kusanagi is going to add the MITSURUGI Ritual. Now we're going to activate the Ritual. We're going to summon from deck our Murakumo by sending away the Habakiri that's on our field. Alright, now Habakiri gets to revive. We get a search. I would actually normally be grabbing the MITSURUGI Mirror here, but I already have it in my hand, so I'll just get something useless like an extra Murakumo. Alright, now we can revive Habakiri over here. Now we're going to activate the Mirror to summon the Futsu no Mitama by tributing the Murakumo that's on field, because it has not used its tribute effect yet. Alright, let's activate the Murakumo effect. And we're going to be adding the MITSURUGI Prayers. And then, of course, reviving. Alright, from here, let's activate Prayers. We'll tribute a monster, yes. We'll tribute the Futsu no Mitama. And then we will do both effects. We'll just go ahead and add the Aramasa here. Special summon a monster to the field, yes. We're going to revive that Saji. And then now we get to do Chainlink 1 Futsu no Mitama, Chainlink 2 MITSURUGI Mirror. Not only does this let you chain block the Futsu no Mitama revive, but of course putting Mirror back is always good for future searches, makes your pre-prep live. Let's go ahead and get Great Purification this time, just having to negate for the opponent's turn. And then we will be reviving. Alright, we can normal summon the Aramasa, and then we'll overlay into Ryzeal Duo Drive using Aramasa plus Saji. Let's go Duo Drive effect, and we'll detach the two materials in order to add Sword Ryzeal and Node Ryzeal. Alright, now, just like last time, or rather the previous combo line, we're going to be making the number 90 Galaxy Ice Photon Lord with Habakiri and Futsu no Mitama. And then we can use IP Masquerena, or rather we can make IP Masquerena using Murakumo plus Duo Drive. As always, very important to do these things before you summon your Ryzeal monsters that will then lock you into rank 4s. But now that we've done that, we can summon Sword Ryzeal, activate, and let's add X Ryzeal to hand. Now we can special summon X Ryzeal by sending Aggregator to the graveyard. No need to activate Aggregator here. We're going to make Dugaris by overlaying these two, get a couple of extra draws. Of course, we'll do that by detaching Dugaris' materials, then we can draw 2, discard 1. We'll just get rid of like an extra ritual here. Now we can special summon the Node Ryzeal, activating the effect in order to send away the Dugaris on field, and reviving X Ryzeal. And then, of course, we simply make the Detonator. Detonator on summon will get to pick up the Aggregator that's in the graveyard as a material. And then you can set the card that you searched off of your Futsu no Mitama. I grabbed a Great Purification because we can actually use IP Masquerena to go into Dynamundo during the opponent's turn. That, as a quick effect, can actually revive the Murakumo that's in our graveyard, which will not only board wipe, but that'll then make the Great Purification live. However, that is a little bit risky. It's a little bit weak to like Bestial or DB Crow effects, cards that can banish out of the graveyard as a quick effect. So if you wanted, you could instead search Prayers and have a more guaranteed way to go into the Murakumo. But of course, you also still have the monster negate of number 90, you have the aggregator negate under Ryzeal Detonator as well as the pops, and don't forget that Dynamundo is more than just reviving Murakumo, it'll also let you shuffle a monster back when it is special summoned. Okay, let's say you only open prayers, and just pretend pre-prep isn't here, and you open prayers and like 4 hand traps. You can combo with prayers alone, but you're going to want to make sure that you activate it during the draw phase in order to play around Duel and Lockbird. In order to activate prayers during the draw phase, your toggle needs to be set to on. So make sure that you're doing that when you're playing MITSURUGI. Honestly, that should be the case in general, because it's best to play that way to react to quick effects, but that's a whole separate video as far as like using your toggle effectively, which I might actually make soon. Anyway, draw phase prayers, again to play around Duel and Lockbird. We're going to use that in order to add the Habakiri from our deck to our hand. Alright, now we can go back to auto. And we're going to activate the effect of Habakiri in order to special summon Saji and then tribute. Now Saji effect gets to activate, and now we can search the MITSURUGI ritual. Now see, if you had activated prayers to search Habakiri during the draw phase and got hit with Duel and Lockbird, you wouldn't be able to use Saji's effect at all. However, here if you get hit with Duel and Lockbird, you can still activate ritual and summon stuff, right? So you can at least do something, which is again why it's so important to activate prayers during the draw phase. But anyway, let's activate MITSURUGI ritual to summon from hand the Habakiri. We're going to use Kusanagi and Aramasa from deck. Okay, now we're going to go Chainlink 1 Kusanagi, get back the ritual, and we'll go Chainlink 2 Aramasa, and that will end up adding, well, you'll see in a second here, it's going to add the Futsu no Mitama. Okay, grab that ritual, activate ritual. Gonna summon from deck we're gonna summon Murakumo from deck using the Habakiri on field. Okay, let's activate Habakiri. Now, in previous combo lines, I would have grabbed prayers here, which lets you extend to be able to make a rank 4, right? But again, we started this combo line with prayers, so unfortunately, that's not really going to get to work out here. So here I think I'm going to actually just grab the mirror to keep making ritual plays. And then we can revive the Habakiri. Okay, let's activate mirror. And we're going to summon the Futsu no Mitama. This time we're going to tribute the Murakumo. I mean, to be fair, I actually, in a normal combo line, probably would have grabbed a mirror there anyway. And then we would have grabbed prayers off of this search, right? So, but either way, we're not going to get to activate prayers again this turn. You could still search prayers if you wanted to be able to revive the Murakumo whenever you want, but I'm going to get Great Purification here. Okay, we'll revive the Murakumo. And now I'm going to link summon IP Masquerena using Habakiri plus Murakumo. We'll put that up here, and then we'll set Great Purification. So this is definitely going to be our weakest end board, right? But it does still have quite a bit going on here, because we can revive the Murakumo multiple ways, either by going IP Masquerena into Dynamundo, as discussed before, but this combo line also leaves your Futsu no Mitama on the field, so you can revive Murakumo that way. Not only that, but as your opponent is special summoning monsters for their combo line, you can use the Futsu no Mitama to start special summoning your smaller MITSURUGI monsters or even Habakiri as well. This will not only let you add resources for follow-up plays, but by adding a ton of bodies to the board, especially one that drops your opponent's monster's attack points, you're making it a lot harder for your opponent to actually be able to win the duel. And don't forget that if your opponent ever does anything too scary, you always have Great Purification as an Omni-Negate effect. Okay, so let's assume you open Ice Ryzeal plus just a bunch of hand traps. Not the case here, but as always, we're going to pretend. Here's how you can full combo off of Ice Ryzeal. We're going to normal summon and activate And we're going to special summon the Sword Ryzeal from our deck. We're going to activate Sword Ryzeal's effect. And we're going to add X Ryzeal from deck to hand. Okay, now at this point, we are going to make the rank 4 King of the Pharaoh Imps. And the more observant of you might actually notice something. We're not actually rank 4 locked yet. And that is by design. Because Ice Ryzeal does not rank 4 lock on its normal summon effect. And Sword Ryzeal only rank 4 locks you when it special summons itself from hand. Now, if I were to summon X from hand, then that would rank 4 lock me. However, here I am not yet locked. Very important to note. We're going to make King of the Pharaoh Imps using Sword and Ice. And now we can activate King of the Pharaoh Imps. We're going to detach one of the materials in order to add Habakiri from deck to hand. Alright, let's activate Habakiri. Special summoning Saji from deck. And then tributing. We can go Saji effect. And we're going to add MITSURUGI Ritual from deck to hand. Now let's activate Ritual. And we're going to summon from hand our Habakiri. We're going to send Kusanagi and Aramasa from our deck. We can throw Habakiri right over here. Okay, we get both the graveyard effects. We're going to go Kusanagi, add the Ritual, and then we're going to go Aramasa as well. We get to activate that too. Now, Aramasa would normally add Futsu no Mitama here, but I've already got it in my hand, so I'll just grab like a Murakumo. But normally I would be searching the Futsu no Mitama off of the Aramasa, and then of course Kusanagi adds back Ritual. Let's activate Ritual, summoning from deck this time. We're going to summon the Murakumo by tributing the Habakiri that's on field, which of course will get us the effect. Alright, now let's go Habakiri effect. Let's add Mirror. And then special summon Yes. Alright, let's activate Mirror. We're going to special summon Futsu no Mitama by tributing the Murakumo on our field. Which will in turn let us revive and, more importantly, search. We're going to grab Mirror. Or not Mirror, Prayers. We already got Mirror. And then we can revive the Murakumo. Now we're going to activate Prayers. We're going to tribute a monster, yes. We're going to tribute the Futsu no Mitama, because that hasn't been tributed yet. And we're going to do number 3 for both effects. We can just add Aramasa or whatever's left in our deck. Special summon, yes. We're going to revive one of our level 4s. Alright, and now we can go for Futsu no Mitama as Chainlink 1, and Mirror as Chainlink 2. So we can shuffle back, we can add the Great Purification, and Special Summon. Alright, we gotta clear up some room on our board to be able to start going into more plays here. So we're going to make the number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord with Futsu no Mitama and Habakiri. And now we can also make the IP Masquerena. Yeah, we're going to use Murakumo and King of the Pharaoh Imps in order to do that. Okay, we still have X Ryzeal in our hand, don't forget that. We're going to send Aggregator in order to special summon. Now, we don't get the effect of X Ryzeal, however, that's fine, because we're going to make Duo Drive using Saji and X. We can activate the effect of Duo Drive if you want to here, but there's also kind of not really a point, so I'm just going to not do it. We can activate Duo Drive, detaching both materials from itself in order to search to here. We're going to grab Node Ryzeal as well as Ice Ryzeal. Alright, now we can special summon Node Ryzeal. We're going to activate Node Ryzeal's effect, and we're going to send away that Duo Drive, which is why I said there wasn't really a point to attaching another material. And then we can revive X Ryzeal, which in turn now allows us to make the detonator. If you wanted to, if you have like a card in hand you don't really care about, you could also just summon Ice Ryzeal, right? With its own effect by sending away like this Fuelos, for example. And this would actually give your detonator another material. I bring this up because we did search the Ice Ryzeal. We've had it in hand incidentally in other combo lines, but again, as always, we just kind of pretended it wasn't there. But here, if you want to, again, if you don't care about a certain card in your hand like Fuelos, you can give your detonator an extra material. Detonator on summon will pick up the aggregator from the graveyard. You can set Great Purification, and there's your pretty much the same end board we've been ending on, but just through the Ryzeal line. And again, even though we started with normal summon Ice Ryzeal, that didn't actually lock us out of rank 4s, so we were still able to make IP and number 90. Now again, you could, instead of Great Purification, get another copy of Prayers instead to be able to revive Murakumo whenever you want. But don't forget that you can also use IP Masquerena to make Dynamundo, which will not only shuffle a card back if you have an extra ritual monster in here, that would be put in there by detaching from number 90 first. But not only that, but you could also use the Dynamundo effect to revive the Murakumo and get the board wipe anyway. So you have plenty of options here, again, for what you want to search for, and in terms of what's actually on your end board. Okay, so here is my current deck list for Ryzeal MITSURUGI. I'm trying out a couple of things that I haven't in previous iterations, such as playing 3 Ice Ryzeal. If you really want to, you could only play a single copy of this card, and that would be completely fine. I'm also trying out a playset of Dominus Impulse, which you might think would conflict, right, with your Ryzeal package, because you can't activate Light, Earth, or Wind monsters for the rest of the duel. But the main thing that actually really just cuts you off is Detonator. And if you're going second, it's really easy to win games without needing to go into Detonator. It also doesn't even necessarily make your Ryzeal engine dead, because the Ryzeal effects that activate to special summon from hand, well, they don't actually activate. They're like Sprite monsters, they're like the new Radiant Typhoon monsters where they just special summon, right? They don't actually activate in the hand. Meaning that even if you Dominus Impulse your opponent, you can still like special summon X Ryzeal from your hand. Obviously you wouldn't get the search, even if it was the only card on field, but they can still act as extenders even through Impulse. But for the most part, everything else in the main deck we showed off in the combo lines. For the extra deck, we basically just have a ton of rank 4 utility options, right? Among the ones I haven't used in turn 1 plays, we have Light Dragon at Ignister, which is detached to destroy a monster. Tornado Dragon is detached to destroy a spell trap. Exciton is basically rank 4 Zeus. You just don't get to deal damage that turn. Full Armored Utopic Ray Lancer is really handy for OTKing in certain scenarios, dropping your opponent's monster's attack points, negating all of the monster's effects, and then being able to attack multiple times in a row. Valen looks really weird here. You might be thinking, what? We're not playing Canine, why is this rank 5 here? Well, it's because when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a face-down card on the field, destroy it. That's really handy going second if you open X Ryzeal. You can send Valen and then pop your opponent's face-down cards, like their back rows, before you even start comboing. I think that covers pretty much every card in the deck here, except for kind of obvious ones like Bonfire, to search Ice, and Hand Traps and Call By, etc. Alright, hopefully you found the information here helpful. There should be, tomorrow, there should be a gameplay video of all going second games with this deck that's being uploaded. And again, if you would like to support the channel as a member, you can actually see that upload early. Speaking of YouTube members and the Patreon subscribers, let's move on to our outro so we can give them a thank you. But also wanted to make sure I thanked all of you who watched all the way to the end. It really does help and mean a lot. Alright, let's move on to that outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.